I'm in big trouble, people. Huge trouble. See, the thing is, I picked these three really interesting dramas for the Chinese drama video. You got the romance. I didn't want it, but you gotta have a reference point for the other two things that I just did, so you gotta do the romance.
This is one from Taiwan. This is It All Started With a Kiss, pretty typical teenager, young adult show.
Picked the period piece one. Very good. Very good drama.
Princess Pearl, really popular mainland Chinese TV show.
And I picked one that's a little bit more dramatic than funny, and that was good too.
Narrow Dwellings, or Dwelling Narrowness, I don't know which one is the real title. But I've watched a couple of these, and come to find out there's some controversy that goes on with this show.
So, time for the first one, the romantic one. Okay. I didn't know this going into it, but I've realized something about myself. I really hate romances. White composer, you could have figured that out, right? Well, I sat through the Japanese romance dramas, and the Korean ones were kind of funny, usually. So I figured I can do this. This won't be too hard. Wow, boy. It's a good drama, though. It's fine. Very successful. There's even going to be a Korean version of this. There's a Japanese version, Chinese version. The thing is, I'm biased. I'm biased against romances, obviously. But also, when it comes to Asian dramas, if there's anything in it that looks a little bit Japanese, my brain's going to pick up on it because that was my first big introduction. You guys know that. So I started watching the thing, and I noticed that I started kind of losing interest halfway through, and I didn't really know why. And I looked back at it, and I was like, wow, the beginning part's a lot different from the rest of it. The beginning part, typical, oh, I'm going to say that I love what's-his-face with the letter, and then, ooh, comical pratfall, and then he's really cold and cool. And again, the slick-haired, sad guy. Here he is again. You thought you left him. Nope, he's right here for you. He's everywhere. I don't like this guy. He's super smart, IQ of 2 billion. I don't care. He's not cool for me. I don't like him. I don't identify with him. He's just some guy. So I lost interest. But I wasn't losing interest at first. And I was like, why is that? I didn't know at the time that the whole thing was based on Japanese manga, a Japanese drama. I didn't know that, because I'm an idiot. But I realized that the parts that kind of gave me that Japanese drama feel, it stayed in my memory, it stayed on my mind, and the rest of it just didn't. That's not China's fault. China usually, and a couple of folks online agree with this, I think this is true. It's about family, it's about relationships, not just, the romantic one, but it's about the friend's relationship. We got to deal with the friend being sad, and the father being sad, and the wife being dead, and the person doesn't know what he wants to be. And all these distracting things that I guess are really cool for most people don't work with me. I can't deal with all that. I don't remember people like that. I remember this guy, this girl, this kid, this person who looks weird. That's all I remember. When you start throwing more stuff in there, my brain says poof, and I start losing interest. Am I a typical guy? Am I a doofus? I don't know, but I'm biased. So I screwed up. So I can't review the thing that I spent all this time looking at. So I'm sorry about that. So I figured, okay, fine. Well, at least I got my period piece one, because we got the girl that could do the I don't even know if it's kung fu. It's something, but she's really cool. If you want to know what it feels like to watch a TV show that just is indicatively just China, this is the show. This had like the hugest ratings of like all time, at the time at least. This was like the late 90s. So it's the two girls, and one of them is the secret princess or whatever. And she has a father who's the emperor. So her and the handmaiden servant, whatever she is, they go off and they're gonna find the father. They're gonna find him. And they meet Kung Fu girl. She's like, I forgot her name, but she's basically doing all the wushu. Wushu is Kung Fu, whatever. So basically, it's like, she's like Robin Hood meets Street Fighter. I don't know how to explain her, but she's like crazy kung fu stuff. And the story kind of was a little slow, and the character's a little too idealistic, even though the kung fu girl she's supposedly like a Robin Hood, so she might be deceiving people, she might be good, she might be evil. It's kind of interesting, but she's always good, to the two girls. It's kind of, I mean, I get it. It's, you can't have people lying to each other throughout the whole thing. So obviously it helps the story along. So I get that. That's fine. I really, though, I don't have anything bad to say about the show itself. I mean, it's a really good show. I could watch this thing the whole rest of the year. But unfortunately, I can't. Because there's 100 episodes of this thing. There's 100 episodes of this. I can't do it. I tried. I was religious. I really did think that I'd get maybe if I did the first 15, I could do a synopsis and it would be fine. This thing changes all the time. It really goes at a novel's pace. You feel like you've read 1,300 pages when you just get to episode 3. Again, that's not their fault. It's based on a novel, so it's gonna probably be that detailed. But when I watch this thing on display, as it were, some people don't put all the episodes up on display. I think you know where I'm going. I can't find this thing. I don't know where to look. If there's somebody who's found this thing and it's got good English subtitles and it's not on display, okay, to tell me where to buy it, rent the thing. I can't get it. And I certainly am not going to be renting 100 episodes. It's not going to happen.
Double fail.
Alright, so I got the last one. Narrow dwellings. Dwellings that are narrow. Whatever the title is, this might be good. This couple, and the couple wants to live together, and the couple doesn't want to tell the family that they're living together. A little unorthodox, okay? Then the sister wants to join them, so that's a little tension there. And they're living in these cramped little spaces, and it starts to talk a little bit less about romance and less about a serious drama and a little bit more like a political statement. And we don't like living in the small town or small house or the small building. And I was like, what's the point of this show really? So I looked it up, and there was big controversy because not only was there some really open referencing of physical attraction and physical love, which to our standards would be like PBS on a bad day. I mean, it's really nothing. There was a lot of social commentary going on. And I was like, oh, propaganda? Really? I gotta explain. Apparently this group called the SARFT, it's like the FCC for China. The FCC for China. Let that stew in your head. We're saying, oh, it uses sex and public officials to make it more popular, and it's unfair and doo-doo-doo. They were trying to make a current situation that wasn't quite accurately portrayed look even worse. So what is this show? I was led down the wrong path. So if I say, oh, well, the characters were interesting, and if I say, oh, the content really showed me a lot about how it was in China, I won't really be telling the truth because I don't know if I'm seeing something that's realistic. Okay, so the commentary they're making is that a lot of younger people who try to make some money, they go into trying to buy a house or they try to rent, and the rent and the prices of houses go sky high because right now there's a housing bubble. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I don't even know how my own country's economy works, and I gotta sit here and deal with whatever is being communicated by this show about the Chinese economic bubble. I don't know what I'm looking at. So what you're left with is this sort of okay story with characters that are pretty realistic. I mean, you thought the Korean one was realistic. I mean, these guys are just they are bone dry. I mean, they will just say stuff. And when you got that going on, you don't know what you're watching. I don't know whether or not I'm watching a depiction of something that is not very realistic. What's the point here? I don't know what the point is. So I had to stop watching that one. So far now, we've got triple fail.
Triple, whatever.
Big trouble. Okay, I really got nothing to tell you. I didn't want to end on such a weird note like this, but I started out with such big hopes for myself watching this stuff, and I kind of let you down here. But what I will do is I'll give you my general feelings about all three of the styles that I just gave. Okay. China left me with this feeling of almost a sense of nationalism. It's a lot about home and live with family in the home, and when a family member leaves the home, it disrupts everything. That's a big oversimplification, but I do see this theme of home and the family. And it's not really about what you say that makes you cool or anything in China. It's a lot in the dramas. It's a lot more about the relationships between people and how strong they are and how the lack of them can disrupt things. Korea, it's all about the individual and how the individual deals with everyday life. It's a lot about one struggle after another. Okay, I did this, and then next I did that, and next I did these, and next I did those. And the relationships are important in the Korean dramas, but it's more about from one person's perspective about how to handle it. And in the Korean dramas, there's a lot about coincidence and happenstance and kismet and that kind of thing. And a little bit more like destiny, almost in a sort of Taoist Confucianist kind of way. And then Japan. The TV shows don't really reflect what it feels like to be there. It's a lot more about roles that you play and how those roles get maintained or get broken. And when they get challenged, there's a strife in that. It's not more of like a, let's challenge it. It's more like a, well, I like my ideal. I need to save so-and-so. I need to win this battle because if I don't, I won't get the money for whatever it is. And those ideals never really get challenged without a fight, you know? Not to say that the Japanese are a pugilistic group of people. I'm saying that the shows, they take a step back from reality, and it's almost as if it's showing a battle of wits, and the one that's the strongest wins. Okay, these are my personal opinions about the shows. This is not about the people. I don't want to see people coming out making comments about Japan is better than them and Korea is better than this and China is better than all of you, and I don't need all that. This is about the shows. These are the trends of the shows. Okay, so there you go. Those are my thoughts about 3 countries' biggest shows, or at least the shows that I could see. Please feel free to tell me, YT Composer, you don't know what you're talking about. I recommend this drama. I recommend this TV show. Thanks for watching. Peace, and we'll see you in a bit.